It's math time with Mrs. Clyett. All right, guys. So let's go ahead and get started. This is the week of April 20th. Some of you have probably already gotten started with this. I wasn't going to do the 20th and the 21st because it's pretty simple. I'm just going to quickly discuss what you are expected to do on those days. Boys and girls, do make sure that you read your learning guides, which is just an introduction to the lesson, and it gives you examples of what you're going to be expected to do on the activity sheet. So this is just help for the lessons that are to come. Okay, so for April 20th, the independent practice, and for the 21st, you are basically using what you know about multiplication and division to figure out the unknown. Now remember, multiplication and division are inverse operations. So for example, here in number 1, when it says 8 times 4 is 32, 32 is the product, so the unknown is actually the answer. But in some of these, when you're looking for one of the factors, you can use division to help you with your multiplication. So for example, in number 2, something times 6 is 18. Think 18 divided by 6 is what? And of course, we know that that's 3 because 3 times 6 is 18. Another one over here for number 9 would be what times 4 is 24. And hopefully you are becoming more fluent with your facts. So at this point of the year, we should really know that 6 times 4 is 24. But if you were unsure, you could check by dividing 24 divided by 4. And of course, you would get 6 for that. Okay, and then you'll do the rest and fill out the numbers here for each one to figure out the secret code. Okay, for the 21st, mastery check, you're doing basically the same thing, using inverse operations in your fact families to find the answers. And then, boys and girls, for the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, you are reviewing two-step word problems using addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And if you were listening to my math video that I did last week, I reminded you that even though some of those word problems were pretty easy, I think most of them were just multiplication or just division, but that most of the time, or from here on out, you would have a mixture of these operations, and you have to be able to use your clue words to determine which operation or operations that you will use to find the answer. If you'll pay close attention here to the strategy box, it reminds you of what to do as you're reading these word problems, boys and girls, to find the answers. Number 1, read and visualize the problem. Number 2, find keywords that tell what operations to use, whether it be addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. Write down what you know. Write an equation or expression that can help you solve the problem. Now remember, an equation is simply a number sentence with an equal sign. An expression is a number sentence without an equal sign, so don't let that confuse you. Decide if the equation or expression makes sense, solve, and then check your work. And boys and girls, remember the strategies that we've used in class. Remember our strategy board and our operation board. You guys are great at this, so you've got this. Just remember and retrieve that information that we've used this year. Okay. All right, so they give you examples and carry you through each word problem to remind you of how to do these. I'm going to go ahead and just quickly read example 1. Henry placed 24 blueberry bushes in flower pots. He then placed 16 tomato plants in flower pots. If he sold 12 of the potted plants, how many does he have left? let's remember that we can easily have a math movie in our heads whenever we're solving these word problems. Let's tackle them, boys and girls. They're not as hard as they seem sometimes. Henry placed 24 blueberry bushes in flower pots. I'm actually picturing Henry placing 24 of these blueberry bushes in the flower pots. He then placed 16 tomato plants in the flower pot. So basically, he's adding 16 to the 24. If he sold 12 of the potted plants, how many does he have left? So that lets me know, okay, first of all, I'm going to have to add 24 and 16. After I get that answer, then I'm going to subtract 12 because he sold them. They left. He got rid of them. So in my mind, I know that that's the same as subtracting. So we're going to add 24 plus 16, which is 40. Then take away 12, which is 28. So based on our math, we have discovered that Henry still has 28 potted plants. So boys and girls, remember, just kind of take it step by step and have that movie in your head imagining what's happening. Is something being added or put together? Is it being taken away or subtracted? If we are doing repeated subtraction, then we know that's going to be division. If we're dividing something into equal groups, that's division. If we are putting something into equal groups, if we're adding equal groups, then that's multiplication. So keep that in mind. There's another example. And remember, boys and girls, do these optional enrichment activities if you can. Some of these do require you to be able to use the internet, but some of them you can even just do on with pencil and paper. You don't have to have the internet for. All right, boys and girls. So I went ahead and it takes me a few minutes with this program to type out the answers. So I went ahead and I filled in the answers to some of these that you have in your packet. So this is for April 22nd. I did a couple of these for you to get you started. So for number 1, it says, Mr. Lane keeps chickens in his backyard. Yesterday, they laid 14 white eggs and 19 brown eggs. Mr. Lane gave 12 of these eggs to his neighbor. How many eggs did Mr. Lane have left? Okay, so I know that his chickens laid 14 white eggs and 19 brown eggs. So right away, I'm thinking, how many eggs is that altogether? I know that I'm going to add those. So I have here 14 plus 19. Now, remember, boys and girls, that parentheses show what you do first. So I didn't have to put parentheses there, but I put them there to remind you that first I needed to figure out how many eggs he had in all, which was 33. And then he gave 12 to his neighbor. That means they left him. Okay. He gave them away, which is the same as subtraction. So 33 take away 12 is going to leave Mr. Lane with 21 eggs. And of course, boys and girls, you have other clue words